Alan Jernigan is the manager for the Commerce, Insurance, and Economic Development Task Force at American Legislative Exchange Council, ALEC. He joins me now to discuss this. Alan, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. What about the decline in worker freedom here in Michigan? Of course, right to work is one of them. What else?
Yeah, as you mentioned, right to work, being one of the first states to repeal it legislatively, is truly a step back for worker freedom and the flexibility to just choose where the workers want their money to go, whether they want to join or financially support a union. That should be a choice of theirs. But it goes, as you mentioned, deeper than that. Michigan finished 35th in our third edition of our labor publication, which just came out. It's titled States That Work, a Labor Policy Roadmap Across America. And that ranking alone tells you, there's a lot of work to do in Michigan, a lot of opportunity to open the doors of opportunity for workers and really promote their freedom.
Yeah. So how do we do that? How do we promote their freedom for workers in Michigan? What do we do when it feels like the attack is to benefit unions? When we hear unions talk, they talk about a lot of things, but rarely they talk about worker freedom. They never talk about that. Teachers unions never talk about kids in school, for example. They always talk about their membership and other things. What do you have to say?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of opportunity. Through the publication, we covered 10 key ALEC model policies aimed at promoting worker freedom. And there's some kind of common sense policies in there, such as opening the doors for out-of-state workers, allowing people that have gotten licenses and gone through training and experience in another state to come in to Michigan and be able to contribute to society and the economy immediately. Just simple things that kind of really promote the flexibility and freedom of the workers to find their own version of the American dream.
For example?
Yeah. I mean, it's just like I mentioned with the policy for the occupational licensing, but it goes further than that. As far as unions go, some states we've seen like Georgia, Tennessee, and Alabama have taken steps to increase their secret ballot protections in unionization elections by simply saying that any company that receives a private or receives a state economic incentive must hold any unionization votes through secret ballot and protect their workers' private information to prohibit and stop intimidation.
Yeah. It's sad that the problem with unions in this country has turned out to be this. And the one I use as an example is the UAW. United Auto Workers Union in 1979 had 1.5 million members. Now it's 400,000, less than half are involved in the auto industry. The point being is unions have gotten smaller, and therefore they've gotten aggressive. Because they donate to Democratic causes, the Democrats have gotten aggressive on their behalf as well. It seems like it's a political slate to create more money into the coffers of certain politicians and not others. Not really for the benefit of the worker, not for the benefit of the middle class or the working people of America. I mean, let's be honest here. Most of the things that unions fought for, say, beginning in the 1930s and the sit-down strikes in Flint, Michigan, and elsewhere, which are working conditions, safety conditions, child labor laws, it's all been legislated out of concern. It's all been fixed. What are unions fighting for today? If all of those things have been legislated away, what are they fighting for?
Yeah, I mean, they're kind of, as you mentioned, just political machines. We kind of look at it as really putting the scale from the government, putting the thumb on the scale and interfering in free markets. And rather than letting the workers and businesses negotiate for themselves and figure out what's the best for them. As you mentioned, workers who are performing well should have the opportunity to negotiate their own salary and go above and beyond. So that's really kind of the opportunities that are ahead of Michigan, especially with the workers, just really giving themselves the opportunity to fight what they think they deserve rather than having someone else do it on their behalf.
Agreed. Well, what are you going to do going forward then? What's the plan forward?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, the plan is just to really kind of identify opportunities to improve worker freedom. I know just recently Michigan in the Senate had a bill introduced to reinstate right to work. And I think that would be a step forward for Michigan on the worker freedom and being able to really just return that freedom of choice to the workers.
Yeah. All right. Well, Alan, greatly appreciate you being here. Good conversation to have. We'll keep in touch and see how this plays out.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.